Okay, it is time for Sarah's Social Sesh car vlog version, episode whatnot. Today I'm going to be talking about Lynryd Skynryd and The Artist Way. And you may be thinking, what the hell does Lynryd Skynryd have to do with a book on rediscovering and discovering your creative artistic journey, right? But for me, it has quite a lot. Maybe someone else will get something out of this. So anyway, my dad and my brother were big musical influences on me growing up. My brother would my dad and both of them, they listened to a lot of like classic rock at that time, and it was popular back then, right? There was a lot of classic rock, oldies, and blues. I've always been geared toward that type of music. I listened to classic rock so much so that I got burnt out. Like, hold on, I got seriously burnt out. And I didn't listen. It's like if I heard classic rock like in the last, decade or so, I would just immediately turn it because it was like I've heard that song 10 million times. And I'm just, I just can't get with it. As you guys know, I have, in my Luminous Living group, my Facebook group, we've been working through The Artist Way. She asks you, at one of the end of the chapters, if you had 5 other lives to lead, what would you do? What would you have done? What would you have been in them? Instantly, I knew, I'd be a musician, I would be a dancer, I'd be an athlete, I'd be a psychologist, writer, maybe. I think writing books sounds like fun in a way. That just got me thinking, okay, I've been wanting to go to dance class, have a dance class, and I've wanted to play a musical instrument for years. I just never would set aside the time to do it, to learn. And it all seemed very overwhelming, trying to learn a musical instrument, because although I love listening to music, I was just I don't know if my brain works that way. I've been working through The Artist Way. Okay, I'm gonna learn how to play the piano, at least some portion of the piano. I'm not gonna be walking out of here like Elton John or anything, but I would like to learn how to play the piano. The notes. I bought the notes to put on the keys, so that would help. And then last night, I love watching documentaries. Watched the Wham documentary, which was really good, by the way. I was never a super big Wham fan. But after I watched that documentary, they did such a good job with that. I look at George Michael and Andrew Ridgely in a whole different way now. It was a great documentary. Anyway, so I watched that. Then I moved on to the Lynryd Skynryd documentary because I had started it months before. I never finished it. So I watched that Lynryd Skynryd documentary and I was just entranced. I know all the songs. I've listened to those songs so many times that, if we'd been somewhere and someone turned on Lynryd Skynryd, I'd be like, oh, really, Lynryd Skynryd? Well, I have a whole new, viewpoint, I guess, on them a little bit, because they would play the songs throughout, the documentary, and I was just damn, that's a good song, And then what they really keyed in on, though, too, was how good of a songwriter Ronnie Van Zant was. I don't know how else to explain it, but Lynryd Skynryd hadn't been on my radar in a long time. That saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So I think it's I was in the right mindset to watch this documentary and get this whole new feel for Lynryd Skynryd or whatever. I lived in Tennessee for a while. I used to live in St. Joe, which is 4 miles from the Alabama line, and we had gone to Florence, we had gone to Muscle Shoals. Well, Muscle Shoals is this huge recording place for lots of bands back in the 60s and 70s. I'm sure, I don't know all the history of it, but I know that Lynryd Skynryd went there a lot to record. So anyways, as I'm watching this documentary, it's also bringing back all the feels of being in my teens and living in the South, and just what kind of an experience that was. Back to Ronnie Van Zant, they keyed in on what a great songwriter he was. And that got me thinking about writing, because for the last few months I had been thinking about writing some poems, because I used to, when I was 12 or 13, I was going to write a book Do you guys remember the Babysitter's Club? So I read all the Babysitter Club books. I used to read a lot when I was younger. And I was going to write this book, and like the main character, her name was Storm Masterson. And just, you know, whatevs. But it reminded me that I used to like to do that. I just hadn't thought about it in so long. As I'm like listening to these lyrics, like these words that Ronnie wrote down, and then I hear them in this music, I'm like, man, that is good. Like, I'm interested in writing a poem. Like, maybe I'll try to write a poem about something, or lean into that area, right? And then I listened to Tuesday's Gone. I don't know if you guys have listened to recently, or if you remember the piano solo in Tuesday's Gone, but it is freaking phenomenal, right? Like, Freebird's another story, but like Tuesday's Gone, that piano, I was just like, damn, that is awesome. So then, see, it all comes around. I was like, I'm going to learn how to play that solo, that piano solo. Oh, Lord. Well, I tried it today. I don't know jack shit about a piano, right? So I got on YouTube and I was like, let's see what kind of videos they have to show me how to learn this. So I did that for a few minutes, and then it only took me a few minutes to realize, like, this is going to be like way harder than I thought. Okay, so I'm a little naive, right? And so then I was like, I'm gonna have to go back. I'm gonna have to go way back to basics. I'm gonna have to learn beginner stuff, because I was thinking like maybe I could just memorize the keys. But no, I think I'm gonna have to really start at the beginning, which is okay, right? Like, it's okay to be a beginner. Yeah, so that's where I'm at, like really feeling into what it would take to like really learn the piano. Kind of refreshing. It feels refreshing. It feels kind of, you know, pretty interesting to try this out, because it's something I've never done before. And I may be terrible at it, and I mean, who knows? I might just lose all my gusto. I'm like, why not? Why not try this and just see what I can do? I just thought I would share that, see what you guys think, see what you've done as far as like played a musical instrument. And let me know, like, if you play an instrument, or if you're thinking about it, or if you wanted to, like, tell me more about that. I would love to hear it, especially if you started an instrument like later on in life, because, you know, our brains are different when we're midlife and we're trying to learn something. I can't say that it's as easy as it is when we're kids and our minds are just sponges and we pick this stuff up, right? It's like learning a second language. So anyways, I just wanted to share that. I had to I wanted to put that out there. And if you want to come and join us in Luminous Living, that would be awesome too. Till next time.